What do you hate about online dating?
Airbiscuit says I don't take many selfies and I am not pretty.
Reverse Cowboy says, my friends made me make this, I don't know why I'm on here, sugar daddy's welcome.
Dreaming Rain says the burnout. It just gets so exhausting even if it's going well. I'm pretty sure every person I know with an app deletes for a few months at a time just because you can't keep doing it. The emotional taxation is too heavy.
Antisocial Oatmeal says ghosting if you don't wanna keep talking to me. Fine. Just let me no edit. If you're upvoting this comment, please throw OP an upvote too. I feel bad for having more upvotes than the original post. That being said, thanks for the interesting points of view and conversation y'all and LT. 3.
Spicy Hash Browns says matching but they don't reply to messages.
Being Grateful says incomplete profile it states, if you have any questions, ask me, which loosely translates as I am lazy one-liner messages. Hi, A.S.L. People who do not make an effort to read a profile and ask something already mentioned on the profile.
Rebel Sue says I am not doing it anymore, but when I was, everything was so cryptic. You feel this pressure to act aloof like you don't really want a relationship but you totally do. And you get excited about someone, and instead of being like I am really excited about you, you act like you could take them or leave them, so as to avoid coming across as needy or crazy. You never know what anyone is really thinking. They could have ghosted you because they don't like you, or just flaky with texts, or intentionally taking a long time to reply to not appear needy and overeager, or they are acting aloof because they actually really like you, or they are acting aloof because they actually truly don't care, and online, you can't even read the body language like you would meeting people in real life. So it's just a mess.
Kelly Boydston 57 says as an introvert, I felt like online dating had a lot of positive aspects. First and foremost, that I didn't have to go out and be social. I know a lot of women get inappropriate messages, but that only happened to me once, and it was simply "you're going to hell" because I'm an atheist. Other than that, I have to say that I found it to be a positive experience overall. My SO and I met that way and we've been together almost 5 years now.
Slutman City says everyone's inflated ego. If we were all so perfect we wouldn't be on here trying to find someone. Tony Stark 39 says I probably won't message you first.
No Fixie says literally everything.
Carnivorous Human says probably more to do with dating in my 30s, but everyone has issues and baggage they've not dealt with.
Victor Kudashov says bots. Maximium Overeyes says everything is just so shallow. Swipes and likes and all that. It works for plenty of people, not for me. I had a friend convince me to make an account on one of the sites and I left after they changed the messaging to some policy where you couldn't message someone unless they liked your profile. I just didn't feel comfortable hitting this button that's supposed to tell someone you're interested in them. That's a lot of emotions behind one click. Like I said, some people like it, and that's great. I'd rather meet people I can talk to face right then.
Sleepy Hollow 101 says people that ignore age ranges. The amount of 50-60-year-old men who are looking to date a 25-year-old because I just don't enjoy spending time with women my age is so annoying. It's pretty much always code for women my age won't put up with my bullshit. And if they won't put up with your shit, what makes you think I will? There's a reason I put my age range to match my actual age. I don't want to date you if you're the same age as my goddamn dad. I'm no longer doing online dating because I'm in a relationship, but it sucked a lot when I tried it. Noo thanks. Between the creeps, unsolicited dick pics, and the one absolutely insane and terrifying date I actually went on, it was an all-around awful experience. Never doing that again.
Superbta says not getting replies. It seems if you're not 100% attractive you're already out of luck. Animalia 21 says I've been ghosted 4 times in a row these past 2 months. Single life at its finest, right over here. Skiji says unpopular opinion may be matched with a lot of girls, and I don't mean all of them, who couldn't see me as nothing else but a sexual object. Disgusted me, like the image they have about men are horny ass animals who'll stuff their pee-pee in the first hole they see. Probably, other people manage to find quality people who cherish them as a person, but I did not. Maybe my luck.
Engineered King says catfishing and fatfishing. Just time wasters in general.
Then I lose myself, says the people.
Square Promotion says lying, exaggerating when people write about themselves, not to mention choose their photos. Between it becoming acceptable to edit or add filters to your photos, and the amount of them that appear to be wedding photos, almost no one seems to look the same in person also. You can communicate and read a person so faster and so much easier in person than over a text conversation.
Deadmeat 553 says my own conflicted emotions. I want to meet someone, but I also don't care enough to really try. This may be influenced by the fact that I have no clue what I even want.
No Tequila No Anal says people seem to forget there are actual real human beings with feelings on the other side. People can be incredibly hurtful and not think twice.
0-3 Ahab says stupid things people put on their profiles like must be at least 6 feet 0, white guys only, spoil me, treat me like your princess, or some dumb bullshit usually denoting some superficial aesthetic requirement. Other than that, the fact that average or less than average looking guys practically have no chance of ever meeting anyone through most dating apps is not very cool. Ismail says it's a numbers game. You sift through countless profiles, swipe right at all the ones you know you will like, all the ones you think you might like, all the profiles with no descriptions with pictures that might hint at what kind of people they are, and all the profiles with blank descriptions but decent looking selfies you match with a few here and there. And then you try and come up with something interesting and unique to say to each of these people. Most of them don't answer. Some of them unmatch immediately. You get to talk to a few people here and there. Some of them ghost you when you tell them about your hobbies, or your education, or your tastes in music, whatever. I'm not bitter about things not working out between two people, but I am tired. I'm having a hard time answering more or less the same questions, telling the third story about how my week went, telling someone about my favorite music again, and asking the same questions. It just seems like people are not interested in working for it. If they don't feel it immediately, they are done.
A new start 61,618 says people lying about themselves.
Two-headed boy 2 says deception angles.
CW Fangirl says I wish there was a dating site specifically for people who never want to meet and just flirt online. Like I don't want to catfish you but I'm bored.
Nebby 18,686 says how shallow it feels when you swipe based on appearance.
Starty nearly says sifting through everything. There just seems to be too much of everything. I'm getting divorced and am probing old, but it seems overwhelming with all the sites, apps, protocols and whatnot.
Anxio Santhic says adding someone on Tinder, small talking for a while, realizing there's no connection, ending up in an awkward silence. Then watching their lives unfold through their Instagram stories, never to speak again. And I deleted Tinder a while ago, just not my thing tbh.
Shrimp says I suck at taking pictures. I am constantly told I'm hot and get a lot of attention in person, but in pictures I look like an abused donkey.
Puck this says sometimes you meet someone who makes you feel obligated to reply immediately as well as talk to them 24/7 and just doesn't seem to understand that you have a life.
Alexshub says a couple times I've found girls on there who had just broken up with their boyfriends, and creating an online dating profile after a breakup seems like a typical move, especially since they might feel vulnerable. I even had one last year who I was with for a bit, and we really started to hit it off. Before I knew it, she was back with her boyfriend and it fucked me up for a bit. And so, in a nutshell, that whole concept sucks for all involved. 42G7E84JDBWHGWJ says they may lie about themselves looking like Dwayne Johnson, and when you meet them IRL they look like Ricky Berwick.
Grincostar says it revolves a lot around superficial things.
RQK 1996 says failure.
Eladane says because you're looking at 2D pictures, it's much harder to take into account personality and other things, therefore people focus on looks a lot. Sasson99 says replying to strangers who say hi in a totally non-awkward way.
Adanips says it feels like a market and you're the packaged meat. Glitterpow says depends on the app, but in general that there are 2 rules to real success: 1, be attractive, and 2, don't be ugly.
Hosford Ajinthason says I haven't been in the dating scene in over a decade, but in the earlier days of Match.com, My pet peeves were these same phrases, verbatim, in every fucking profile. I love the city and all it has to offer. I'm as comfortable in a little black dress and in a t-shirt and sweats. My friends say I'm sarcastic.
Distimi says either they just want to have sex, and don't care about you as a person, or you really vibe with them and they are too nervous to kiss you, but introduce you to their parents on the second date, and that's my experience.
Quasimodo says people who say, I won't message first, usually are giving you a warning without even realizing it. Just keep moving.
Minamis Reek says when the person messaged you saying hey, and you reply saying hey back and then you hear nothing from them again, rattles me up.
Good ol' Spence says ooh, I can answer this. The instant gratification mindset that comes with swiping. I have been on so many dates that went really well only to have someone be over it after 1 or 2 dates. You can keep swiping on your app, so why continue with someone that you didn't fall in love with on the first date?
PMME Steam Code TY says I don't hate ghosting as much as people being treated like objects that you can easily compare, without having nothing more than a description and some easily forgeable photos. You just keep swiping and swiping until you hit a match. Perhaps you're average looking and barely have 2 or 3 matches active at all. The other person might have 10, 20, 100. And she can just go for the best fish in this ocean of shit we call online dating.
The Jaded SF says there's just so many people you have to sort through and throw out swipe left on before you find one that has potential and is compatible with you. Then there's such a huge if they match with you. Most people, especially ladies in my area, are inundated. It's daunting and almost just as much work as trying to meet someone IRL. Also, seeing the same people over and over again on different apps or sites is kind of depressing and makes you start questioning why you can't find anyone either and doubting yourself. Is it my looks? My personality? What?
GUNNA 5343 says the fact of being ghosted. Like we had a great conversation for weeks and I mentioned meeting up and poof you're gone.
In that birthday Gerald says having to tell other people you're dating somebody, but just haven't met them yet.
Jambo02 says they might be a murderer.
Blobby Beats says boring conversations. The men seem to cast their net as wide as possible by being as generic as possible. Please show your personality. I'm here to get to know you, not the massive conglomeration of nothingness that is online dating.
Neaner6S says creeps and killers.
Funky Junkie says the culture. Guess it's a thing that you don't need to tell people you have an STI when you're attractive and DTF on the second date.
Eulenberg says lack of opportunity to touch, kiss or hug each other resembles the situation in the film 5 Feet Apart. By the way, after watching it, you begin to appreciate all these things.
Hi Father YT says trolls.
Channel 12 says I don't do this, but so many stories make it sound like online shopping and the inability to make a decision to commit once you meet. It's off to the next person.
Human Generic says all of it, ghosting, bots, that kind of thing.
Darth Spectra says the fact that you are judging a person simply based on a few photos. And I'm not talking about catfishing, simply the way it is. If you are not super attractive, you will not have any CCs. That's why I prefer real-life communication. You get to see what the person is like, you get a better look including at their appearance, etc.
Rudolph Clancy 88 says people who put that they're only there to make friends or improve their English. How do you say Netflix and chill in Mandarin?
Fuaj says messaging doesn't convey emotions well and emojis make me feel like I'm 4 years old.
Happiest Sunday says it's such an unnatural way of getting to know someone. Think of how you met your friends in school, meeting people in big groups, spending time and passively getting to know them works so much better than actively chatting on the internet or on a first date.
Garrett K says only women available are either more interested in their existing kids, or are indistinguishable from fake profiles.
Electrixting says trying to come up with an original, funny, inquisitive opener that also suggests sexual attraction that isn't just hey only for it to be screenshot and posted on Tinder nightmares.
Tenyuki Up North says the one-word sentence personal descriptions. Describe yourself. Fun. How am I supposed to start a conversation with you?
The Dizzy Blonde says I'm married and I don't online date, but I have friends that do. I feel for them. There are so many creeps out there looking for a quick hookup or someone they can just use. A couple of years ago there were like 3 in a row that just separated from their wife. One lady I worked with had a scammer trying to get her to send him money. English wasn't his first language.
Comrade 666 says personal story here and a creepy one. I was on an online dating site and a girl contacted me and it seems so good to be true. Long story short, the girl was an African group who tried to steal money from me by using stupid stories and lame blackmailing, and thanks to the internet I knew that I wasn't in danger, so now I prefer to be rejected IRL rather than finding some creeps online.
Impact Art says being ghosted before we even go on a date.
10-inch Blackhawk says she has a 10/10 picture but is actually 6/10 IRL with a 1/10 attitude to boot.
Isla Kekau Milk 101 says and GT, match and GT, how high are you? 6, 0F, and GT, perfect, and GT, read and GT, start over.
Nikoop says I actually don't hate it. Online dating is more for shits and giggles than for serious stuff. If you view it under that lens it makes a lot more sense. Hence the extremely low success rate and an extremely low bar for the definition of success. Think of it as a human-powered crappy online game.
Coyote Wee says I feel like all the apps and websites got so monetized that you have to pay to get anywhere with any of them. When I tried online dating with OKC like 5 years ago, I had no problems getting a date. You look at profiles, send a message, get a message back, go from there. But now you look at profiles from people who don't even live in your country, like them, send a message, and they won't see it until they like you back. Everyone keeps telling me to try Tinder but I hate hookups and that seems to be all you can do with it, and honestly it's only a matter of time before they adopt the pay $0 a month to make our app semi-functional model.
Susivit says I travel a lot for work. I tried Tinder few times just from pure boredom. I was really annoyed by girls just looking for citizenship in better part of world. They were so obvious, they could have written that in their profile.
Big Grombus03 says setting up a date with a hot chick only to find out they're actually a fat middle-aged neckbeard. Loves Me Tacos 125 says besides ghosting it's when they act so nice and cool over text and then you meet up and they are completely different in person. I'm not talking looks-wise, which has happened, it's whatever to me, but personality-wise, I've gone on a couple dates where, when we were texting they were so funny and chill, and then when we went to dinner it just all went downhill from there. It was awkward AF and there ended up being no second date and obviously ghosted after that. Also, one time, this dude showed up an hour late, was shorter than me. I'm not one to judge about height but when you lie about your height and end up being shorter than me, it's gonna piss me off. Didn't talk the whole time. Forgot his wallet but not his ID when he ordered alcohol, but was nice enough to drive me home and then even nicer enough to send unsolicited dick pics after. So I got that going for me. Thanks Tinder.
It's Viliho says people literally contradicting themselves in their bio. Like how fucking stupid are they to write I don't care about looks, only personality matters, then continue to list their requirements. If you ain't 6'0" at least don't swipe right.
Thataphone Domperson says when a group of girls make an account for fun, the rest explains itself.
Jurassic MJ25 says hey I liked you, matched, messaged you once. I am never going to message back, reply acknowledge you exist.
Eteroxic Good says that people can get catfished and kidnapped.
Thunderwood 123 says everything.
Windane says that even if there are thousands of singles in my area, none of them want to talk to me.
The 3rd says as a man, everything. I have to spam dozens of women just to get a response. These are women who liked me. Why you finna like me but not respond? I don't know.
Necrotitis says man, for all the bad stuff here I'm really glad after I wrote out around 100 well thought out messages that one girl finally messaged me back. Married her and had a boy who's now 4 bang if. I had to say something I hate is that when people ask how we met they expect some Disney story shit and are disappointed when we say we met online. Like, yeah it was great honestly compared to most things. Just gotta look out for the crazies. Simeon should have told my wife this.
Bellatoria says I've attempted online dating for the last 5 years and I might have received a total of 5 replies. It's pretty defeating after a while.
Jabtril says girls who complain about online dating. Men who online date have it 10x harder than women. Women will get bombarded by matches and messages and can pick and choose who they want to respond to, but I know completely normal and pretty good-looking dudes who will maybe get a handful of matches a year.
Inexpensive firearms says a few extra pounds as a body type or average. Look up your height and weight. If you are above the healthy weight, average doesn't apply. Hanging out with morbidly obese people doesn't make your morbidly obese as average. If you can't be honest with yourself, how can I ever expect you to be honest with me? Mine says big and tall because I am. If I ask you for a few dollars, are you handing me 50 or 100? If not, you know what a few means. If you shop at Lane Bryant, you aren't a few extra pounds. And damn it, if your profile says I hate drama, you are nothing but drama.
Wrong answer. Willie says it's where both my sons met their wives, hate one, love the other. Latitude says height requirements and the dad bod craze. Life is tough for a 5'8", 126 pounds man.
Shades MLG says being an average looking male,